there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Woltersworld, and today we're here in York, England, my favorite place to visit in England. And I want to give you today are some of the ways that tourists kind of rub the locals the wrong way when they come here to York, because this is a famous historic city that tourists come to all the time, but there's a few things that people can do that might upset the locals. And I think the first thing you need to realize is if you meet someone from York and you don't offer them gravy with their chips, your friendship is over. Look, the people here love gravy. I mean, if you get your Yorkshire pudding with your Sunday roast, you're expecting not just a little bit of gravy, but like a lot of gravy. Like, just bring the whole pot over, please, kind of amount. And that's the same thing with their chips, okay? So if you get them some chips, make sure you got some gravy to go with those chips here. Otherwise, they're not going to be very happy with you. And I know I'm starting off with something kind of silly, but I think there's also kind of a more serious thing. And that is, if you're a tourist, you're a traveler coming here to York, and you get easily offended or affronted by the locals about their honesty. Because honestly, the people here in York are very, I would say, outgoing in terms of sharing their honest opinions on things. And they don't mean it to be rude. It's just how they talk to people, how they share things. And if you're getting all upset because they're being honest with you, that's going to upset them, because they're, in their mind, they're telling you the truth, and wouldn't you want to know the truth? And that's why they get very upset if you bring up some of the stereotypes about York and Yorkshire. So if you tell them, oh, you're so cheap here in York, they don't like that. Well, if you say they all wear flat caps and they have the whippet dog and stuff like that, those don't go over very well either. So just know that talking about the stereotypes of York and Yorkshire, not going to make you too many friends here. Though you will see the flat caps on sale in more than a few tourist shops. Now, another thing that someone from York won't appreciate is if you offer them a cup of tea and it's not Yorkshire tea, okay? They love their local tea here. Yorkshire tea is a brand. It's kind of a stronger tea. I mean, I really like it. It's got some flavor. It's some bold flavor. Like, you'll enjoy it. You'll see it all over the place. And if you offer somebody tea from someplace else, nah, they're like, nah, bro, I'm good. And speaking of things you think might be from somewhere else, is you're not going to make any friends from people here in York if you tell them that Kit Kat, it's from the U.S. No, Kit Kat, you know the chocolate wafer candy bar, you take a break, take a Kit Kat break kind of thing? That's from here in York. And they're proud of their chocolates here. I mean, chocolate made a ton of money for York over the years. And Kit Kat is just one of the examples of some of the really tasty candies they've had from here, the chocolates they've had from here. So don't be like, oh, Kit Kat, isn't that from like Hershey's in Pennsylvania? No, bro, it's from here in York. Another thing that might not make you too many friends when you come here to York is, how would I say that? Be befuddled by their accent and then ask them to repeat themselves. Look, the North in general has a different accent than the South of England, and I kind of look at it this way. The BBC English we watch in the US is more of Southern England, not the North, not Yorkshire and up this way, okay? So if you have that confusion, be like, I don't understand their English, they'll just roll their eyes and be like, oh, BBC propaganda that we all sound like the Queen. God rest her soul. Another thing that the people of Yorkshire probably aren't going to appreciate is if you basically are from the south of England. Look, there is this kind of north-south divide in England between the north and the south, and it's not like super big, super bad, but it is something that might annoy people if you're like, oh, I'm from York, and you're like, oh, York, where is that, close to London? No. It's not. They won't appreciate that. And so there is this kind of rivalry that they think, oh, the South is all smug and snobbish. And they're like, oh, well, the people from the North, they're from the country and they're all just, cheap and stuff like that. You do have those kind of differences. And that can lead to a little annoyance by the locals if you're from the South or if you think that York's in the South. And that disdain isn't just limited to like the South of England. Another easy way, if someone kind of knows English geography and you tell them you're from York, or someone says they're from York, and someone goes, how close is that to Manchester? Oh my goodness, do not compare York to Manchester. Do not try to give directions via Manchester for people. Pick something else. How close is that to Leeds? I mean, I think it might be better to say how far is that from London than it is from Manchester, and sometimes, because yeah, there is a little competition between the two, and so that might be something you want to kind of avoid, all right? So these are just some kind of fun ways that tourists might upset the locals. I mean, there's nothing bad here. Most of these things, no one's going to be upset, because honestly, the people here in York are super friendly. They're super outgoing. You're going to go to some of the hundreds of pubs around town, and I guarantee you will meet locals here that want to talk to you, chat you up, just learn about what you're enjoying here in York, and they're going to give you advice, because honestly, you don't piss them off here at all because the people are really awesome, all right? So I hope you have a great time when you come here to York. Be careful of these little things here. If you want more serious, like, don'ts of travel, you can watch our video on the don'ts of visiting York, which will give you more, like, travel advice and more safety advice when you're here and more fun advice in terms of getting the most of your visit here in York. But I wanted to share these kind of upsettingnesses that tourists do. So let us know in your comments below what are other things that tourists do that upset the locals here in York.